Welcome to Didsbury Parsonage and welcome to the Wild Art exhibition. This exhibition is in place of the Wild Art Fair, which wasn't possible this year due to the pandemic. Let me begin by giving you a little background. Claire Howarth, Lindsay Green and myself, Jo Wright, are the organisers of the Wild Art Fair. We are artists and makers and we're all inspired by wildlife and nature in some form or another. In 2019, we decided it would be lovely to arrange a fair with like-minded artists and makers to sell our work and raise a bit of money for wildlife in the process. We took over the rooms in the parsonage with art and craft. We had a cafe selling homemade cakes and we invited Lower Mosswood Wildlife Hospital to join us with their owls. It was a truly wonderful event. Anyway, back to the exhibition, which we hope you will enjoy equally. We have handpicked a selection of 20 local artists and makers who are all inspired by nature and wildlife. Everything on display is for sale. Please email or telephone the parsonage if you're interested in purchasing anything. If you would like to visit in person but can't make it on a Sunday, you're welcome to email the parsonage to request a private Saturday viewing. Now, let's enjoy this virtual tour. Ryuji is also known as Pop-Up Tokyo. He's a self-taught artist who crafts his masks using cardboard and papers. He also produces paintings and lino prints. Lucy Ray explores and develops unwanted materials to create art from salvaged resources. Her work is inspired by the British countryside and she delights in creating imagery in which the composite reclaimed materials are not immediately obvious. It's only when you look a little closer that you recognise certain recycled elements. Working in this way, she aims to highlight how our overconsumption of single-use materials is affecting our environment. Jo Wright is myself, also known as wildlife printmaker Bear Print Design. I graduated from Manchester Polytechnic in 1988 and worked first as an illustrator of children's books. A family holiday to Canada inspired me to take up printmaking. My imagination was sparked by a close encounter with a black bear and on my return home I produced my first lino print. I'm currently in the third year of a printmaking course at Hotbed Press in Salford. Emma Blackburn. 2 mathematics degrees and 20 years teaching maths led to a midlife crisis career change for Emma. After making her kids far more hats than they could ever wear, she started giving some as presents. This gave her the confidence to start selling them, and there's been no stopping her since. Emma loves every minute of creating, designing and handcrafting these unique faux taxidermy heads. Liz Jones is a printmaker and textile designer based in North Cumbria. Her rural surroundings are a constant source of inspiration, which she captures in her original lino cut prints and textile designs. Her favourite subjects are foxes, deer and birds. She also runs lino cut workshops throughout Cumbria and beyond. Joanne Coulthard is a fine artist who mostly paints in acrylic but also dabbles in watercolour and oils. She enjoys painting landscapes, animals and sometimes still life. Joanne has a space in Goose Green Art Gallery in Altrincham and enjoys being part of Altrincham Art Society, where she began her journey of being an artist. Lindsay Green is a freelance illustrator living in Knutsford and works at A4 Studios in Altrincham. Her artwork is inspired by her passion for wildlife and her love of fantasy and folklore, and is created using a combination of hand-drawn and digital methods. She particularly enjoys drawing weird and wonderful animals that people might never have heard of, whilst helping to raise awareness of endangered species and environmental conservation. Kirsty Hall is an artist from a teaching background who spent many years working in further education. She is now freelance but still teaches art in the community and on special projects. But her passion is pursuing her own work. Kirsty is inspired by the natural world, and her current work is created in an illustrative contemporary style. Sarah Wilde is an illustration graduate with an interest in folk tales and nature, sometimes with a gothic vibe. She often features woodland animals, landscapes and botanical patterns in her work, with a variance of rich and subtle colour palettes. She also works on many surface types, including fabrics, wood, canvas and paper. Robert Coyle has always been fascinated by nature, that a seabed could form from the top of a mountain. His current drawings explore the magic, mystery and awe he has when glimpsing that past. The large-scale nature of his work aims to capture the presence of the rock, whilst the bright colours explore the excitement and energy required to create these magnificent forms. Michelle Shaw decided to change her life and pursue her dream of becoming an artist when she moved from London to the Peak District in 2015. She works in a variety of mediums but specialises in fine line ink drawings. She is inspired by stories, myth, folklore and the beauty of the inner magic of the natural world. She is an avid hill walker and gets a lot of her motivation from the landscape. Lorna Lucas is in her third year studying print at Hotbed Press in Salford, where she is currently working on further additions to her prints in the exhibition. Her current themes are natural side-eye, which are photographic screen prints of the natural world, and ideal homes, which are inspired by nature versus architecture in both town and country. Her paradise bird is her signature motif, which features in her textile and pattern work. Belle Seddon is a true Didsbury native. She runs a small business called Shop Homebodies, which sells local area-inspired candles and prints. She studied photography and media at Goldsmiths University and fell in love with the natural forms and shapes. Over the years, Belle keeps coming back to Fletcher Moss and the Didsbury Parsonage gardens as inspiration. Craig at Fish Inc. creates a variety of individual handmade ceramics using nature and animals as an inspirational source. They are often light-hearted, quirky and humorous. Sarah Hicks has been working as an artist for 20 years, with much of her work from the last decade being in community arts and education. Her artwork is heavily influenced by nature, and most of her paintings include birds, which to her represent freedom and escape from boundaries and constraints. She favours acrylic paint with occasional elements of mixed media and collage. Katie Jones is an artist and illustrator based in Moss Side. She is inspired by stories and nature and loves folk stories, fairy tales and forest walks. She works in traditional media and has recently been experimenting with the expressive possibilities of a looser watercolour style. For Me and For You are husband and wife team Jacqueline and Stuart. Working from their workshop studio in Macclesfield, they create a range of wood, paper and metal artwork, jewellery and homewares based on their life exploring the Peak District and UK countryside with their young family. Jenny Rothwell lives and works in the beautiful Peak District, where she creates carefully handcrafted jewellery inspired by her walks and local explorations. Hand-painted florals, wildflowers and abstract landscapes adorn her colourful jewellery. Each piece is unique, a tiny piece of nature to wear. Alison Waters. Inspiration for Alison's work comes from nature, and in particular the healing that spending time in nature can bring. Graduating from MMU as a mature student with a first-class honours degree in creative practice, her work now focuses on hand-built ceramics, using the vessels as a canvas for imagery inspired by the natural world. Wild Art Fair team member Claire Seddon-Howarth of Tin Snail fame lives in Didsbury and is well known in the area for her fun and distinctive name-place designs. She takes inspiration from local areas and enjoys playing with the patterns and colours from nature. Her designs feature on mugs, coasters, tea towels, homewares and more. If you haven't got one of these mugs in your cupboard, you need one. And this is the end of the Wild Art Exhibition virtual tour. We hope you've enjoyed visiting from the comfort of your armchair. Remember, if there's anything that's caught your eye, please do get in touch with the Parsonage. We are a not-for-profit venture and we will be donating again to Lower Mosswood Wildlife Hospital from the proceeds. And remember, if you'd like to visit in person, the Parsonage is open to visitors on Sundays until July the 4th, 10 AM till 4 PM, with limited visitor access, so you'll feel super safe. Thank you ever so much for watching.